The other day, I came across a Chinese proverb that said, learning is like rowing upstream. If you stop, you're going backwards. I really feel as though this idea applies to our horses' physical development as well. If we're not moving it, we're going to lose it. But even more important is that we be conscious and educated about how we want our horses to move and how they are prepared to move. If we're not making positive progress with our horses, we're basically distancing ourselves from achieving a high level of health and soundness and also moving further away from our performance goals. Actually, this applies to really every aspect of our own and our horse's life. In fact, one of my partners and supporters, Silver Lining Herbs, states on their website that we believe health is a work in progress, and every day we make choices for ourselves and our animals that move us closer to or further away from a state of optimal health. This is why I resonate with and appreciate what they offer so much. I'm very particular about supporting our horses through quality nutrition as well, but today I'll be showing you how to make better, more targeted choices and how you warm up and even cool down to maximize strength, lengthen stride, and ultimately increase speed. Now keep in mind that my pre-ride and run routine is more involved and time-consuming than you might be accustomed to. From start to finish, this pre-ride and run routine takes at least, I would say, 30 minutes. To get started, I wanted to share 4 reasons why our horses' bodies really need and benefit so much from this pre-ride routine and why it's so powerful for enhancing their performance in competition. We want our horses to have unrestricted, free, fluid, relaxed, supple, balanced movement because it, number one, enhances their overall physical and emotional health. You know, it's all connected. The more time a horse spends in a positive, stress-free state of mind and moves in a balanced, healthy way, the better their digestive, immune, and other bodily systems will function, and the faster they'll recover from the stresses experienced throughout life as performance horses. Number 2, this unrestricted, free, fluid, supple, balanced movement will help lengthen stride. Now, speed can be determined by stride length times stride frequency. There is a legitimate limit, however, to how much we can improve our horse's quickness or the rate at which their legs move. But there is a lot we can do to condition, develop, and teach our horses to extend, essentially allowing them to cover more ground with each stride, making them faster on the barrel pattern. Number 3, we want to maximize strength. When we carefully build the right muscles in the right way, we can add to the force behind our horse's movement, also increasing their speed. When we've instilled habits of correct biomechanics, our horses carry their weight more over their center of gravity, giving them more opportunity to fully utilize the strong muscles we've conditioned. Number 4, taking these steps supports healthy muscles, soft tissues, and joints. When our horses are free of restriction and more bilaterally balanced, they are less likely to fall, slip, and sustain injuries or develop compensatory physical problems. In other words, when we've worked out all the kinks and our horses can freely extend and use themselves in a healthy way, we're not forcing other parts of their body to overextend, give out, and be subjected to excessive wear and tear. Now next, I wanted to share 4 of the top enemies of this unrestricted, free, fluid, supple, balanced movement. Number 1 is a lack of emotional fitness. Now mental tension creates physical tightness and tension in the body. The more emotional fitness we can create then, the less physical issues our horses will develop due to the development of contracted, tense, tight movement patterns. Previous injury can really get in our way. Time alone does not completely heal damage, and not all injuries are outwardly obvious. the body splints or braces areas of strains and sprains, and these knots never fully resolve on their own without specific therapy to release them. The third is restrictive tack and or riding. Now, poor fitting saddles or rough riding are just a couple examples of the outer influences our horses are subjected to that get in the way of this healthy, fluid, pain-free movement. The fourth is learned behavior. With combinations of all of the above, over time, horses learn to associate barrel racing, for example, with negative emotions and tensions. Or they start assuming that when the saddle goes on, they'll experience pain, or that carrying a bit in their mouth will likely mean being handled roughly. They form habits based on their experiences. So it's up to us to correct the issues, then break up and dissolve these learned associations and prove to the horse that they don't have to anticipate discomfort and they can really choose a new and different, more healthy way of thinking, being, and moving. So finally, this leads into the 4 action steps I take. They are release, stretch, relax, repeat. To help my horses release before every ride, I use cold lasers, also known as red lights, to activate specific acupoints on their body. By stimulating these points along certain meridians, I bring circulation back to constricted areas, I release energy blocks, loosen up muscle knots and stress points, and promote an optimal internal environment for healing. To make this as easy and affordable as possible to get started with, I highly recommend getting the Photonic Health Top-Line DVD and chart, which shows you the points you can stimulate to free up your horse's top line, which is really all about helping your horse to lengthen his stride, lift and round his back in a healthy way, and engage the hindquarters for more power and athleticism. Now, the top-line chart alone with the DVD is very affordable. And while a cold laser is more of an investment, it's become a tool that I can't live without. So I'll be sure to include links below for some resources to learn more. As you follow this chart, you can find the acupoints and massage them with your fingers. Usually there will be a very slight depression. These little massaging motions, when you perform them, it's best to use your thumb. When you locate them, if they're slightly protruding, warm, or tender and hard, then they're considered in the world of Chinese medicine to be of excess energy and in need of sedation. To do this, just apply some pressure and hold until you feel a bit of release and just add a little more pressure. You're likely to need to stay on a point like this for a minute or more. Now, if the acupoint feels cool, soft, spongy, or depressed, it's considered deficient and in need of tonifying. You'll want to massage by applying 2 to 4 pounds of pressure in short pulsating movements for around 30 seconds. Because the cold laser uses a photonic light at 660 nanometers, it's a vibrational level that is very close or the same as a healthy living cell. So I usually do this at each point on the chart for at least 30 seconds to a minute. Or if I know there is a certain issue, or if I have more time, I'll hold it in a certain area until I get an endorphin release, which occurs when my horse takes a deep breath, stretches, sneezes, blows out, yawns, or licks and chews. Now, the red light also offers biostimulation, so it's a great tool for accelerating healing on any part of the body, as well as loosening up restrictions where the horse has been stuck through this acupoint work, whether due to previous damage or injury, or where they have a history of trauma, stress, or poor movement patterns, for which is a category most horses that have ever been ridden or handled by humans fall into. Because my horses' bodies are in a pretty healthy place these days, I rotate the top line points with other series of points to support their feet, their digestive system, their hocks, or whatever I feel they need help with. The red lighting usually takes about 15 minutes. Next, now that my horse is relaxed and feeling more supple, thanks to the acupoint stimulation with the red light, it's a perfect time to perform stretches. Basically, my horse will have a greater scapula swing and be more supple through their body in their stretching now than if I hadn't red lighted all the acupoints first. Before we get started, there are a few things to keep in mind when it comes to stretching. I'm not going to go into great detail on exact anatomy that each stretch addresses. You can study that on your own through the references I've provided in another post I've linked to below. But essentially, I'll just make a quick run through of the stretches I perform. The third step is to relax, meaning that I make a point to use a training technique called seek and reward. When my horse is tight or distracted or nervous, I'll take some sort of action until their focus and relaxation is restored, and I'll reward them for that. Essentially, I train my horses to have the state of mind I want them to have on purpose. I shared more about this in a past video on biomechanics. Here you can see that his movement is much more free, forward, lengthened, and relaxed after his pre-ride therapy versus when I first halted him. Setting him up for success in this way means that I've given his mind and body the opportunity to create and memorize a new habit of moving with true power. I'm not allowing him to get any practice at moving in ways that are unhealthy or out of balance. The fourth step is to repeat. Again, I look for the best moments of this free, fluid, supple, balanced movement during our rides and make a point to reward that by stopping and giving my horse a rest or verbally confirming they're on the right track. If they get off track mentally or physically, I'll typically mix things up by interrupting them with some figure eights, involving bend through their midsection until I get an endorphin release. They lower their head and relax, slow down, or show some kind of positive change. So I'm always mindful of this as I focus on other specific objectives in my riding and training, whatever they might be. That everything is done with quality. Also related to the final repeat steps is that I go through this whole routine, not just sometimes before a competitive run, but before every single ride. Consistency is really key. To wrap things up at home, our horses typically get to walk on the hot walker for about 20 minutes to cool down with ice boots on their front legs. And this is really helpful for distributing lactic acid, reducing any inflammation, and preventing them from getting muscle sore after intense workouts. By freeing all these areas of our horse's body and restoring the energy flow and circulation, we really reduce our horse's chances for further injury. We prepare them to handle ground better. We purposefully build their longer stride and teach them to move in ways that build strength with posture that allows them to fully utilize the strength we've instilled and propel themselves with maximum power. Having a detailed and in-depth program like the one I've described can prevent you from just going through the motions, but ensure that your horses are always positively progressing forward by becoming more sound, healthy, strong, balanced, and fast with every single ride. Every day, I encourage you to do something that your future horse will thank you for. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.